Good afternoon YouTube, and welcome back to Warwick Road. So this is going to be a short November update. So in this update I'm going to cover loco edition, some stock editions, and the scenery update, stuff I've been working on downstairs in the evening. So I want to thank all the subscribers that have stuck with me in the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. And I'd like to say a special thanks to Al from, I hope I pronounced this right, Braidson Junction. He gave me some advice after my last video where I had really squeaky wheels on my cargo wagons and sticking couplings. So when they went round the corner, one wagon, because the coupling was so stiff, it was pulling the other wagon off the track and derailing at every corner. So he gave me a bit of advice, white grease, which I got from Roads of Rails, and that cured the problem. So not only are they going around the corners properly, but you don't have that awful squeaky noise as they're running around the layout. So the latest addition to the loco fleet is this Class 60 in the blue of Kappa. This is, I think, one of the later Hornby versions. I think this has been out too long. When I went down to my local model shop, Gauge Master, down near the Sussex coast, they've got these big glass cabinet displays, and I saw that in there. And whilst just dark blue, it looked quite basic, it really did look nice. So I had a look, because down at this shop they charged the manufacturer's recommended price, which I think was about £214. This is quite an old model, so I balked at that straight away. I wasn't going to pay that. Considering my Acura scale dealt, it only cost £160. So I waited and waited, and I think the cheapest I'd seen it for is about £190, so I'd given up on the idea. And a few weeks ago Hatton's had a sale and these were £160. So I looked, left it, looked, left it, and they were down to like the last three, so I got one. These are really nice. This is my fifth one that I've got, so yeah, I do like them. The only thing I have with this is that there are no TTS chips available at a reasonable price. So this and two others that I've bought over the last 6 months will just run DCC fitted and not sound, because I can't afford to pay £100 for sound decoders for Class 60s. I'll just keep an eye out and see if any TTS pop up at a reasonable price, or Hornby decide that they're going to start supplying more to the market. So my next purchase was a Bachmann Network Rail DBSO. I got this idea from Susanna at Mildenhall Districts, where she'd done a running session and had shown a network rail train with a DBSO pulled by a Class 37. I wanted a network rail train, but I was actually thinking of the Flying Banana, the HST. So when I started looking around for one, they're very rare. Pretty pricey, although all the HSTs are pretty pricey now. With the 5 coaches and sound decoders, it was looking like an awful lot of money, and it wasn't something I could afford. So scouring the eBay and model shops, I've come across this DBSO. It was unboxed, but it's in perfect working order, and the network rail train alone is a great addition to my layout and the stock. Just the yellow against the red brick, the green, the ballast, everything, it just stands out. So I'm really pleased I picked this up. It's just under £100, which is still a lot for just a coach with a DCC decoder in it, but the finish on it is really, really nice. really nice. So I'm really pleased with this. I've just got to put the buffer beam detail on the front of this. Weathering, I'm not sure, because I've got to look at pictures and get some close-ups. But to me, the network rail fleet seems to be, the size of the bodies anywhere, pretty clean. So it might just be a bit of frame dirt across the bogies, and the underframe is all it really needs. Having found some old Hornby Procore hopper wagons right at the back of the loft in a box, managed to flog them on eBay, got a decent price, which allowed me to buy 9 of these Bachmann TEA tank wagons. I've always wanted a tank train. Initially I bought the Hornby tank wagons and the old Lima ones, but within a few days of having them I was very disappointed. Even bought one of the newest Hornby ones, which was the graffitied tanker wagon, and quite frankly a pencil would weigh more. It was that light. The huge great decouplings on them. Within a matter of a few minutes I knew I wasn't going to keep them, so I flogged the lot. And they actually, the money I got from them helped towards my car wagons, my STVA Bachmann car carrying wagons. So I've always been after these Bachmann TEAs, I think they are. But they're pretty pricey. But I managed to find these quite cheap. Now I don't know whether these are an earlier version and Bachmann had updated them, because these range from £30 up to one I'd seen that I think it had been professionally weathered was 165, but I didn't pay any more than £40 for any one of these. I've got 9, would like a rake of about 12 if I can find them at a reasonable price. But again, like the network rail, I'm not in a rush, so it probably will be a 2023 toy fair or model railway exhibition where I can pick up the odd ones of these. But they are really nice, and from the pictures I've seen on the internet, you know, my recent purchases of Class 60s is perfect for hauling these tanker trains on the layout. So those of you who can remember my last scenery update, I had done a bit of work on the sort of upper town scene at the other end of the layout by the main station. And if you can remember, there was a circular bus station that I'd started to scratch build that was a very loose copy of a bus station in Red Hill in Surrey. But the more I looked at it, the more it didn't look right. It didn't look right in proportion to the station building and what else I had planned for the layout. So I've changed, and I'm actually really happy with the change. So in the corner is a Kingsway model of Balham Station building. So obviously I've changed the name to reflect the name of the layout and also the name of the station, but just its sort of almost Art Deco look is something totally different from anything else I've got in the layout, because bar a couple of scratch built, the apartments are built, everything else is either a scale scenes kit or a Metcalf kit, card kit. So this just gave a really nice bit of variety in the buildings, because I don't want every building to look like or I've spent all my money on Metcalfe or scale scenes, as really good as all those kits are. I just wanted something a little bit different, and this was perfect. So I've also changed the paving, because again, when I look around the layout at the bits of paving I've got, it's all Metcalfe, so I decided that I would change. So what I've done is I've gone with the scale scenes. It's just like a paper that you cover over in card. So for me, this looked better than the Metcalfe curb and path paving that I already had down. It obviously needs weathering because it's got very heavy use at a main station. And I've got a 3D printed figure of a busker, which I'm going to put outside the station. There's still some more signage to put on the front station under the canopy, and lots of people milling about as it would be at a London tube station. This is depicted to be a pretty busy station, although I don't want it swarming with people. Obviously I need to populate it. Some of the people in the background will be, I just got a bag of those people that you get from China. I just need to paint them, and some of them are the wrong scale, but a lot of them are the right scale, but they're painted in very bright leery colours, which again probably will look quite good in places, but obviously just need to work on that. So the building to the left is I guess a Metcalfe municipal building. I think it's depicted that it could be a hospital, but what I've decided to do, having gotten rid of the bus station, my scratch built one, I've decided that this will be my bus station now. So the white building on the right, side of the building on the right, that'll be like a bus crew rest room, and the rest of it will be for the public as a bus station. And you can see the 3 lanes I've got here, or the 3 stops I've got here. Not modelled on anything, just something I thought up that made it a bit different. So right in the corner at the far end of the layout, I'm going to be constructing like a small retail park, and I picked up these 2 kits. So it's like MDF from a company called Fair Price Models on eBay. It's only about a tenner, but they're really nice kits. So you know, you've got this sort of structure outside with the canopy. I've got that signage off of eBay as well. So I've seen a shopping centre where the corporate colours of the company that was occupying the unit were reflected in sort of the outside decoration. So obviously the orange for B&Q, green, I've got a red one for Wilco, and I've got another one which I think I'm going to have, I think I've got some signage for Curry's PC World. So I have 4 in this corner, a small car park, again just a small industrial unit, obviously some reclaimed land from factory or something that was there before. Now this pub my wife bought for me about 15 years ago when she went to a boot sale, and a gentleman was selling dioramas. So I think it's a slightly bit bigger than 00 scale, but because it's only single story, it doesn't look out of place. And I've kept it for years and years and years, and now I think it's time that I can actually fit it into the layout. It's going to take a bit of work because it's just on a piece of cardboard. You can see at the bottom there. So I may have to just take this board off and just cut a recess and sink it down into the board a bit. It's only plywood, so it shouldn't be too difficult. But I've decided that this will go onto the layout. I like it. So yeah, a little small pub wouldn't go amiss near a station. And at the back there, I'm looking at whether that stays there or not, I don't know, but I made it, I think I made it last year, and it's just been gathering dust, so I'll put it up there so it doesn't get damaged. But I think I may get 2 or 3 of those just along the back, So you can see along this back wall, that's as far as the town seam will go, that section there, because the rest of the layout is just the return loop, and that's hidden from where I'm operating the trains because we've got so much junk up here. And even if I cleared everything out, I've got the chimney breast and a water tank, so I can't see round here, so I'm not sure it's wise to spend an awful lot of money and time scenic in something that, unless I'm actually down in this corner, I can't see. So my main focus of the last few weeks has been to update the station, because the station platforms were bare, just a few lamp posts, but hardly any people on it, and it just looked odd, looked like a ghost town. So I've spent some time with signage. So the two big signs at the back are from Scale Model Scenery. The one in the middle at the back platform, they're from Scale Scene. So some of the Scale Scene's kits include posters, and these are really good because these are pretty up to date. There I have one of these new modern advertisement, they're illuminated advertisement boards, and then it was really a case of going through my locker and looking for passengers that could stand on the platform. So some of these I've pre-bought in packs. Some I've picked up from exhibitions, toy fairs. This one here is what I've done is it's an air hostess, so I've done it as a Virgin Atlantic uniform. Into focus. Travelling home from work. And then it's just a case, some of these are Hornby, Pico, Dapol. Well, they're very old figures, but I've managed to sort of change them, paint them up a bit to make them look a bit more modern. So it's just really more detail on the station, because actually it looked a bit boring. Got some CCTV cameras in there as well. Just giving it a bit of life. Other updates I've got is I've got a few pigeons up on the station roof, because pigeons get everywhere, as we know. A few people sat down. I can't remember where I got those seats from, but I remember that I bought a batch of 3D printed stuff off of, it wasn't eBay, it was off the internet, and that all came with it. So I'm much happier with the station, because this is about my 5th or 6th attempt at a mainline station at different parts of the layout, and I was getting a bit frustrated because it never seemed to look how I'd pictured it in my mind. So I've persevered with this one, and I will keep persevering with this one, because this is as near to what I wanted than all the other previous iterations, if that makes any sense. I've used Metcalf kits, I've used Hornby, Super Quick, I've used everything, and nothing quite gave me what I wanted. But I would say that they were all on the main part of the layout, and I decided to move the main station down here because it allowed me to have straight platforms, because I'm operating between Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3 and the Bachmann DMUs. The sort of length of those coaches is so different that if you put a Mark 1 on a corner of the platform, it was so far away it wasn't believable, but then if you put a Bachmann DMU up against it, it was really tight, so it just didn't look right. So I've gone for straight platforms, and I've got the space to do it now. So what I've done in the foreground here is this was all ballast, so it just looked, it's all the same ballast. Obviously I haven't weathered anything yet, but when you looked at it when the trains come down, it just all looks so samey. So I put some grass, bushes in there. I'm going to do it to make it a bit more patchy So it looks like the ballast has been there and the grass is nature's suddenly taking over. So I'll put a bit of the orange fencing in there as we've got workers working in the electric relay boxes, and it just protects them from the fast trains on the main line. So that was just really to break up that area because it was all just sort of grey ballast. So obviously when it's ballasted, when its ballast is weathered, it will look a lot better. But even withstanding that, even if it had been ballasted, it would still have looked a bit odd. And also just to show that this line here, which goes into container yard, isn't used as much and isn't as well kept as the main lines. So I'm going to bring this video to an end. Obviously I don't want it to go on for too long, but going forward I think the main priority again is more running sessions. I spent a lot of time cleaning the track and flattening out some bumps I had in the summer. I think where it got so hot up here when we had that lovely weather, some of the track buckled, so I've ironed all that out, cleaned it all up. But I need to make sure the trains keep running on the layout. It's no point doing all that work and then just sit here looking at empty track and trains in locos in boxes. So it's really to focus on keeping the trains running even through the winter. Now it's lined, providing it doesn't go below 5 or 6 degrees. I'm okay to be up here without a heater. It's not too bad. The biggest thing I'm going to work on is track weathering. I don't really use an airbrush, although I've got one. I tried to weather some wagons and ended up, they went from Freightliner green to as if they've been soaked in a mud bath. So it's just the subtleties. I've seen it, I've watched it on YouTube umpteen times where people spray the track and it looks absolutely fantastic. I'm not at that level, so I just need to practice. I've tried it with brushing, mixing up paint and brushing it on there, and it doesn't have the same look. It looks okay, but obviously I've tried a bit, and where it got so much, it got wet, then the ballast started to move. So whether the ballast had enough glue in it is probably the problem. So I've got a small section of wood. I'm going to nail some track to it, ballast it, and then on days when it's not raining I shall go out in the back garden, mix up some paint in the airbrush and have a crack. So hopefully at some point when I've honed the skills I can come up here and just start airbrushing, because this main section of track would look so much better if it just had some light weathering, similarly the loco shed with some heavy weathering with engine on and everything. So that's something I'm going to be doing this year. But I'd like to thank everybody for watching. I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen. Please keep your comments coming. If you like what you see, please subscribe. And thank you to everybody that's, every time I put up a video, sends some really nice comments or constructive points, something I've not done right. As you heard about my airbrushing, I'm no expert on any of this. This is just me watching other people on YouTube and thinking, yeah, I can do that, or no, I can't do that. So, you know, like all of us, it's a compromise. A model railway is a compromise, and my skills in some areas are extremely compromised. But I hope everyone's well, staying safe, take care. Thank you very much for watching, I really appreciate it, and happy modelling. Bye bye.